What's up, everybody? Welcome to SLC Puck, episode 110, happening right now. It's Wednesday, May 21st. Wow, is May 21st the first day of summer? It is first day of what? June 21st, first day of summer. Well, whatever. It was like almost 80 degrees today. It felt really nice. It was so nice. I decided to stay inside most of the day. A good part of my day was helping out with the Utah Mammoth's Learn to Play program. Had a great time there. I'll talk a little bit more about that in just a second. But yeah, gosh, how about a great day for everybody except Edmonton Oilers fans? I'll say that. The Dallas Stars just put a beating on them, as the phrase that's circulating around, social media would go. They went belt to ass on them, real bad. I think they put up like 6 unanswered goals in this one to win 6-3. It was funny, I was talking to my uncle. My uncle and I talk hockey all the time. My uncle's a longtime hockey fan, so he's been pretty excited about this, and he's a supporter of me, and I love Uncle Scott quite a bit. But we were talking today, and I said before the Dallas-Edmonton game had even begun, I said, I'll tell you who I think is going to go to the Stanley Cup final right now. I think we're talking Florida. They're a freaking unstoppable machine. Actually, you know what? Let's flip that around. Florida's the immovable object. The Dallas Stars are an unstoppable force. That's my finals prediction, and I think the Florida Panthers are going to win that. It seems to be kind of the trajectory we're headed on. I think it's I don't know, I think it's kind of clear just watching the first game. One game into these conference finals, I'm already so certain this is going to happen. But I mean, I think both teams are like relatively healthy. I think they're better than their conference final opponent. I think the Stars are better than the Oilers. I think the Panthers are better than the Hurricanes. I think the goaltending on both sides is a lot better. So that's, as it stands right now, what I predict to happen. And if you've been listening to the show for a while, I truly believe I'm right about everything, right? My mom's sitting there. She's rolling her eyes. She thinks I feel that way about everything, and I do. Anyway, moving on. I'll tell you what I am right about, though. These new hats we have at BigTuskEnergy.com are unreal. They're insane. I'm wearing one right now. And again, I've been teasing this for a while. It's still the case. I'm doing this because I love you guys. We're doing the Founding Herd pricing right now. Get in now at the ground level. This is like buying Apple stock, like when they were still in the garage, or Amazon stock when Bezos still was working in his garage with Amazon spray painted on the side of the wall. That's a lot of like the vibes that are happening now. Buy low, sell high when we make it, when we get this thing syndicated nationally, which may or may not happen. But anyway, yeah, everything here is just $25. So hop in there, or less. Just hop in there to BigTuskEnergy.com. Get yourself some dope merch, and I'll send you a thank you in digital form just to show my appreciation. And I'm going to give a big thank you in podcast form to the donors out there. I don't know if you're on Twitter right now, but there's this phenomenon that's happening amongst Utah Mammoth fans, and I'll be honest, I don't really get it. I'm not on Utah Mammoth Twitter, as often as I probably should be. Especially because I'm an influencer nowadays. But there's this like thing. It's called the donors. Her. I think it's a homage to Josh Doan, and it has something to do with this Red Bull that I know Sammy really likes. It's the summer edition white peach Red Bull. I don't touch the stuff because I'm more of a Celsius boy. But this is me just giving a big salute to the donors out there. What's like really shocking to me is like how many like female listeners I have. Like it's more than 2. It's more than my mom and Sammy. I have like multiple, and I'll never forget like the first time like a female listener came up and said she liked the show. I found that shocking. I had no idea that like women and children were listening to my podcast. That to me has felt very surprising, but I've had like a lot of the kids at Learn to Play come up to me and say, I've seen you on YouTube. I'm like, great. Okay, cool. We'll get back in line and do your drills. I'm not letting you have it easy here, kid, just because you recognize me as a internet celebrity, an influencer. But it's nice. It's fun. So, hey, bottoms up to the donors out there. again, I'm not going to, this is one that Sammy had. It's not sugar free, so I'm not going to touch it. So you ever seen what Coca-Cola does to the human body? It's terrifying what sugar will do to you folks. So I'm a Dr. Pepper, zero sugar kind of guy. But hey, that's not what we're talking about today. We're not talking about my taste in beverages, although I could talk about that for hours. And what a good podcast that would be. We're here to talk hockey. And yes, I did reference the fact that we're in the Stanley Cup playoffs. The Utah Mammoth, they would still be called the Utah Hockey Club had they made the playoffs and would be continuing. I don't think they would make that announcement, in the middle of a playoff run. So they would have been the Utah Hockey Club. But anyway, they're not in it. We have the name. There you go. It's the price we pay. But you don't have to look far to see some of the fellas, including Josh Doan on the ice. He's representing the United States along with Michael Kesselring, Captain Clayton Keller, Logan Culie, who took a hysterical photo that made the rounds on social media today. I'll just show you this in case you guys missed it. This was an absolute riot here. And hats off to the good folks who run the Utah Hockey Club at Utah Hockey Club. It's really Utah Mammoth. We know that. Social media handle. Name someone with more aura and whimsy. Bet you can't. And then there's Logan Culie, looking like, he kind of looks like Ralphie from A Christmas Story when they made him put on the pink bunny costume. He's kind of giving that same face. And if you're listening to this on Apple and Spotify, you're missing out on one heck of a visual. So I encourage you to go check that out. Really, really funny stuff. So that was kind of the hubbub on Twitter today, among other things. But again, like Logan Culie has been playing unbelievably well in the World Championships for Team USA. I believe he has 8 points in like 6 games for Team USA, including this last game, their victory over our good friend Karel Vejmelka and Czechnia, which I'm pretty sure I'm saying correctly this time around. The boys in the red, white, and blue took a 5-2 victory over Veggie and the Czechnia squad. And looking at the statistics, there's one that jumps out at me that really tells the story about what I think Logan Culie's headed towards. I think we've all kind of talked about like his potential. He seems to be the best player from his draft class, was drafted 3rd overall by the Coyotes a few years ago. And I'm looking at the box score of the USA's win against Czechnia. I believe this wasn't today. This was the 20th. This was yesterday. Logan Culie finished the game with a goal. I believe Josh Doan also had a goal in this game as well. Yep, he sure did. Logan Culie had a goal in the game. But here's the number, and looks like he had a couple of penalties, 4 penalty minutes. But here's the stat that really jumps off. 9 shots by Logan Culie. And we talked so much this last NHL season about the Utah Hockey Club's difficulties putting the puck on net. I gotta tell you, like, I don't think at any point in any game last season, and I'll have to double check this, but I feel very confident, there's no way a member of the Utah Hockey Club had 9 shots on goal in a single one of their games this last season. That's, like, to me, a really encouraging sign. They need that aggressiveness to pick up some of these wins that eluded them this last season. If they're to be the team that we would like them to be this next season, I think it's a really, really great sign that the guy that I think we all feel like has the most upside on the team, Mr. Logan Culie, Mr. Stand there very uncomfortably in an Evel Knievel helmet himself, has 9 shots. If he brings that kind of tenacity back with him to the NHL game next year, I think that's something to be really excited about. I would love to see Dylan Guenther take 9 shots on goal as well. I'd love to see Clayton Keller had 2 shots on goal in this game, 1 assist. That's a pretty typical Clayton Keller game, so we definitely appreciate him. I'm sure his leadership has been really invaluable. What a good learning experience this has been for the guys on the Utah Mammoth to play in this tournament. I think Keller's gotten a lot out of this, and it's not necessarily stuff that shows up on the box score, but like I think the fact that he was named the captain of this team does a lot for his confidence. I think it's validating. I think it rights a wrong, right? We talk so much about what a snub it was that he wasn't on the 4 Nations face-off roster. I think this is a big step for him possibly playing in the Olympics next year. I think you can kind of put that in Sharpie at this point. I think Logan Cooley having a strong tournament is really, really encouraging as well. Michael Kesselring's played really well, really well as well. I really like Kesselring. I think he has a ton of potential to be a really important top 4 defenseman for the Utah Mammoth next season. I think he's like probably one of the most fearless guys on the team with the puck, the way he stands up for his teammates. He's not afraid to fisticuff some guy. We saw him with Simon Benoit against the Toronto Maple Leafs. Remember when Benoit did the Superman jump and tried to take Kesselring's head off of his shoulders? Didn't you miss? You aim for the king, you better not miss. And Kesselring turned around and beat his ass pretty good on that one, which was a lot of fun. And again, let's not forget Josh Doan. This is great too. The Josh Doan needs all the ice time in the world. He had just 7 minutes of ice time in this game, but he scored a goal. He's making the most out of his opportunities. He had 3 shots in 7 minutes. That's awesome. That's great. I think I'm like really, really encouraged about what this is doing for these guys. And I'm sure Mr. Bill Armstrong, GMBA, also feels the same way watching these guys perform. He's also really enjoying watching Keller, Cooley, and Tage Thompson play together on a power play, which has been pretty electric. I'll say that. I've said this in the last episode. If I was GMBA, and I'm going to sit with that thought for a minute, because that would feel really good to be Bill Armstrong. I've talked so much about how much I admire the man. He's 6'6" and like has great hair, and I got to give him a bro hug, and it felt good, felt warm, you know. Anyway, that's all I'm going to say about that. But if I was GMBA, I've said this, I would really consider lumping in the 4th overall selection that the Utah Mammoth has in this summer's NHL draft into a compelling trade package to get Tage Thompson from the Buffalo Sabres. I think that could create a really electric scenario for the Utah Hockey Club, solve a lot of their heaviness issues they had, or lack thereof of heaviness. That's a clunky sentence, but you know what I mean. Like, the team needs to get thicker, stronger, tougher on the puck, get that goal-scoring punch, and Tage Thompson checks all those boxes. So I think it's been something to really keep an eye on for this. The other thing I'll note on this, I tuned in for this game for a little bit. It's kind of cool, kind of the gravitas and the swag that our friend Karel Vejmelka has in the international hockey game. Because even in this game, the United States just is a much better team than Czechia. Sorry to my Czechian, listeners. I'll just say that. But I heard through the TV on the broadcast multiple instances of veggie, giving his team a chance when they probably didn't necessarily deserve it, right? I mean, let's just hop over here to the. Look at the box score on this. This is crazy. I'm gonna just show you guys again. The United States outshot Czechia 56-27. Karel Vejmelka had 51 saves in this game. That's crazy. That's absolutely nuts. There's a lot of great stuff to take away from this game if you're a Utah Mammoth fan. Team USA finished in the top 8 of this tournament, so they're moving on to the quarterfinals. Tomorrow, I believe they play. Oh gosh, I wrote this down. Let me check who they play. Sorry, you're seeing me do this in real time here, folks. I think, let me check here real quick. Yep. Team USA is going to play Finland. For all the Finns we have on the Utah Mammoth, no representatives on the Mammoth on the Finnish squad for this one. Switzerland's playing Austria. Sweden's playing Czechia with Veggie. And Canada, featuring Barrett Hatton, will be taking on Denmark in another quarterfinal game. So we'll keep an eye on this. Championship will be decided on Sunday. But what was decided earlier this week was a bit of the predictable. I think a lot of the hockey community out there was just awaiting the inevitable. I'm talking, of course, about our favorite yearly occurrence for those of us who live outside of the Toronto metropolitan area, which is, again, the inevitable early exit of the Toronto Maple Leafs, team with one of the most inflated payrolls, the core four, a place where hockey fans are like absolutely, and I mean this in the best way, because I don't know who's listening to me from Toronto, and I don't want them to attack me, when I'm at Costco, because I talk so much about where I go on a daily occurrence, you know what I mean? all these people who want to wear my skin, they think I'm easy to find. But anyway, to all my Torontoians out there, from the six, as Drake would say, it was a rough one. The Maple Leafs eliminated by the Florida Panthers. Game 7 the other night was a really, really interesting game, and it creates kind of this conversation now that we're going to have here in Utah for the next little bit, especially when free agency opens up. Should Utah jump in the bidding war for a fella who's sure to hit free agency, sure to find a new place to rest his head at night, to call home? I'm talking, of course, about Mr. Mitch Marner. And that rumor, that connection has been made quite a bit in hockey orbits. I think like the ingredients are all there, right? Like Utah's a team on the up. They need a superstar, 100-point guy. Clayton Keller, 90-point guy, not a 100-point guy yet. But they need like that extra, punch to take it to the next level. They have Utah has $22 million in cap space. Mitch Marner is going to command a very high, salary in free agency. He will probably become the highest paid player in hockey this offseason. So if you're watching this as an observer, if you're a pessimistic Toronto person, and there's probably all of you at this point. Hey guys, sorry for the interruption. And yes, I'm talking to the fellas out there. It's almost June, which means it's almost wedding season. And I'm guessing some of you haven't popped the question yet. And why not? What's going on? Like, this person means everything to you. Are you afraid of commitment? Like, what's your problem? Are you looking for a ring, perhaps? Well, if that's your hang up, and let's just say maybe it is, that's probably all you're looking for. You love this person very much, and you can't wait to spend the rest of your life with them. I'll make it easy on you. All you got to do is scan this QR code right here, hit send on the message. You'll be entered into a drawing to win a $250 gift card from our good friends at Payne Anthony Creative Jewelers, Jonathan's Jewelry. Either spot, you can't go wrong either way. Same ownership. You can win this $250 gift card and finally get the ring of your partner's dream. And if that's not good enough, I'll make it even easier on you lazy folks out there. All you got to do, who have been dragging your feet about commitment, not because you're lazy in any other way, is go to either one of these spots, Payne Anthony Creative Jewelers in Trolley Square or Jonathan's Jewelry up in Cottonwood Heights, and just mention SLC Puck. They'll knock $100 off your purchase. So again, pop the Q, get ready. It's the summer of love, baby. Let's get that ring on a finger. If you like it, you should have put a ring on it, is not what you're going to say, because you do like it and you are going to put a ring on it. Thank you to our good friends at Payne Anthony Creative Jewelers and Jonathan's Jewelry for their support of SLC Puck. And let's get back to the show. You probably see Utah as a leading contender, and I've seen Utah listed as a leading contender for the Mitch Marner sweepstakes by just about every reputable hockey outlet that there is. Now, the question remains, though, is this a good idea? And I am somewhat on the fence on this, just thinking about this, thinking about what Utah needs and thinking about the trajectory they're on. I've kind of gone back and forth for a little bit, and things have changed my viewpoints on this. I think the fact that the Utah Hockey Club was given a pretty big gift, being the 4th overall pick in this draft, which is coming up at the end of June, has changed my feelings on this. I think my own impatience has changed my feelings on this, wanting to see Utah in the Stanley Cup playoffs. I wanted to see them make a run and have a parade down State Street one day has changed this quite a bit. I sort of would be more open to this than I was a couple weeks ago. I think it makes sense for a lot of reasons, and I would love to see a scenario in which perhaps the Utah Mammoth signs Mitch Marner and trades for Tage Thompson, and that could be a trade package that might include, and I threw this out on Twitter and was rejected by a lot of people, but I think some people maybe saw the reasoning in this. I mean, I think a compelling offer to Buffalo might be the the first rounder, which is the 4th overall pick. I think you got to give them something, right? Because bear in mind, Buffalo also kind of owes it to their fans to show that they're invested. They're not going to just give away their best player for nothing. I think Utah could send someone like Barrett Hatton in exchange. I think Daniil Boot. I almost said Butt. I spent a whole episode last year talking about Daniil Boot, calling him Daniil Butt last year. And now that I'm such a huge fan of Russian hockey, and by the way, congrats to Mr. Boot and Dmitry Shimashev for winning the KHL championship with the Locomotive today. That's big. I think both those guys are going to make the jump to the United States and probably start the year in the AHL, I would imagine. But now, I mean, I think knowing he's coming over anyway, I think that could be a piece to the puzzle in bringing Thompson over. And then just a little sweetener, and this is something I brought up again, like I said, on Twitter. You can follow me at SLC Puck, a second rounder for next year. Just a little cherry on top. But I mean, here I'll just explain like why I think that's an interesting offer. Again, I think Buffalo owes it to their fans and to the rest of the team to show that they are at least somewhat interested in winning and getting the team better. So I think that's where the Barrett Hatton thing comes in. And the reason why I threw Boot in there is because I sort of see like as exciting as a prospect as he is, he's a big dude. He's 6'6", shares many characteristics with Tage Thompson on paper, right? In terms of physicality, it's like, do you want to take a chance on a guy who could be Tage Thompson, or do you want Tage Thompson? Is kind of the question, right? And like for me, I think Utah's really kind of in the driver's seat right now with all the upside we've seen. I mean, remember that box score I showed you guys just a second ago? Logan Culie lighting it up, and we know Dylan Gunther, a large part of Utah's core contributors are going to be back and under pretty manageable salaries. The window is probably open now, and I've said this before. Like, I back when I was a little bit more patient, a little bit more, deliberate with my takes. I was like, I think 2030 is Utah's window. I think getting the 4th overall pick accelerated this by a year or two, and I think maybe it's time to really get it churning here. We'll get back to the Marner thing because I think there are some pros and cons to doing this. And, speaking of which, the hockeywriters.com had a great article labeled as such, and I'll just run through a few of their points here. So, writer here, Jeremy Shoup. I don't know Jeremy, but I'm sure he's a great writer here. Again, this has been talked about in the national media, Utah earmarked as a great destination potentially for Marner. Pros being, according to the Hockey Writers, Marner's coming off career high 102 points after playing in all 82 games, 7th straight season with a 90 point per 82 game pace. And he's a great defensive forward. Career high season for the Maple Leafs, 5th in the NHL in total points, 4th in total assists, and 4th in primary assists. Known as a pure playmaker. Defensive side hasn't been talked enough. Cons, I should say, he produces at an elite offensive level, but he probably has benefited quite a bit from playing with the best goal scorer in the world, Austin Matthews. And you guys all know my bit on that. Spells his name wrong, which I don't love. Also, he kind of was losing his minutes on 5-on-5. Great research there by the Hockey Writers. And there's something to be said about like the tenacity. Austin Matthews talked a lot in his post-game presser after the Maple Leafs were eliminated by the Panthers, how he thought there were too many passengers on the Toronto Maple Leafs. Was, because there's guys who drive the bus and there's guys who are passengers. Was he talking about Mitch Marner? I don't know. He had a bad series against Florida. I think that's a little bit concerning. And I'll also point out that our friend, and I say friend because I met him once, Jordan Schmaltz, who's the brother of Nick Schmaltz, had a hilarious take, which actually might be a little bit telling here. While watching the game, Jordo, Jay Swish, said, "Did Mitch have a blow dryer on the bench tonight? Mop, his hair, was completely dry in the second period of Game 7. And there's the video of Marner shouting at his teammates angrily. And it does seem like he may have had a blow dryer on the bench. His hair does seem to be bone dry. He has great hair, by the way, unbelievable flow. But I mean, there might be something to that. I mean, that's certainly not ideal. Again, I thought his performance in this series was not great. So, for our own edification, we'll do our own list of pros and cons, and I just whipped these up really quick. A lot of these are tongue in cheek. You guys know this is a goofy show, so bear with me here. But Mitch Marner, pros and cons according to SLC Puck. Now, pros. Again, we talked about how expensive he's going to be. He's going to be the most highly paid player in hockey. I am choosing to view that as a pro because that could stimulate the local economy. And in today's economy, we could use all the revenue we can get. And having a guy who's the most expensive player in the sport, frequenting local businesses, trying out our restaurants, finding some cute shops that he likes to visit, investing in local real estate, I think that's a pro. I'm going to mark that as a pro. There is maybe some who feel like he's a little bit arrogant, but I'm choosing to view that as a pro as well. He's got big tusk energy, which is a phrase I've trademarked, and I'd love to exploit his arrogance and his big tusk energy to further my agenda. So there you go. And then another pro. This one was this is a pro that could be a con. Pro, everything could be one thing, could be another. His arrival would accelerate potentially. I think very well could Utah's climb to the Stanley Cup, but that could affect their construction plans for the Delta Center because we know they're doing renovations every summer for the next few summers to get that thing up to shape for being a world-class dual sport venue. So there you go. That's a pro that could be a con. Now the cons, and I think these are undeniable. He'll break a lot of hearts around here with, especially with the donors. He's just a handsome guy. He's a handsome guy who's going to be unavailable to a lot of people in the dating marketplace. That's going to be upsetting to some people. So I don't know, that's not good. I don't like it when people get their hearts broken. I've had my heart broken. It doesn't feel great. I don't want that for these women. I'm going to list that as a con. Another con, we don't know if he likes Kronberger yet. That to me that says a lot. I talk about Kronberger all the time on the show. You're welcome for the free plugs. I'll say that. They don't need it, but I'm welcome. Another con, we don't know if he solves their puck shooting issues, but perhaps that's something Logan Culie would be able to remedy for them. So again, it's a con that could be a pro. And just as a little bit of fun, I listed the fact that his hair is never wet as a bit suspicious. So again, these are the pros and cons to consider when making a big move like this. So we'll see. I'm sure this story will unfold more and more throughout the summer. So we'll be covering this very closely on SLC Puck. But I want to finish off the episode. Like I said, I spent today, a good part of today, indoors. It was nice and sunny outside. It was really nice. It was probably around like 70 degrees today. Perfect day to go out, hit the golf ball around, maybe go for a walk in the park, maybe go reading, in the park on a blanket. I did none of those things today. I went inside. I went to the Utah Olympic Oval to help out with the Utah Mammoth Learn to Play program, which is something I really enjoy doing. And I really do like meeting the kids, working with the kids on the ice, and I do some street hockey stuff with them as well. But it's just really fun to meet all the parents and families. And I have a lot of parents who come up to me and recognize me from the show. And, they're like, "Hey, you're that influencer guy." I'm like, let's cool it with that term. But, really, this is a family that I've really, really enjoyed, meeting. This is Morgan, his son, Tanner. And, it's been a ton of fun to see Tanner's progression, in the Learn to Play program. He started last month. His first ever session on the ice was literally the first time he had ever been on ice. And that was the first thing he said to me when I came up to. I noticed, he was doing a great job practicing falling. We'll say that, which is a very important skill, I'll say. But I came up to him and said, hey, buddy, how we doing? He's like, "I've never been on the ice before." And I was like, "Oh, this is great." Okay. So, we spent a lot of time just getting comfortable with being on the ice. He was super excited to be out there, and now today, he's out there ripping it up. He's standing up on his own. He's moving around really well. He was handling the puck. So it's been really fun to see his progression, see like how much he's really taken to it. His dad has done a great job too. His whole family too. I think they kind of have a blended family situation. So there's a lot of people behind Tanner and getting him on the ice. But his, Tanner showed up the first day. Stick wasn't taped. They were, they're new to hockey as a family. And then the next time they showed up, Morgan came up to me and showed me the knob that he had done on the stick, and he did a phenomenal job on the knob. Like Tanner's stick is looking pretty dope. So anyway, like that's the kind of thing that like is happening right now in the local hockey community. Like super fun. Like I said, this is like not unlike my own hockey story. I remember being Tanner's age, being really excited, wanting to play hockey. I remember my parents not knowing anything about how to put a hockey player on ice, but we learned and it became like a huge part of our lives. And now my mother has the pleasure of having a hockey podcast in the basement of her home, which is every mother's dream, as I know. So who knows? We might see Tanner do his own Austin Facer impression in years to come. So anyway, that's been like cool and fun to see. So I just wanted to talk a little about that. And next time we talk on Sunday, guys, I'll have another episode or another update from my men's league team. And here's a fun treat. If you see me in public, and this is what Morgan did, you are more than welcome to ask me what the name of my team is, and I will happily tell you. Again, because this show is put on KSL.com from time to time, I cannot tell you here because it's adult. It's the kind of thing that'll make an adult laugh, but will make them blush when they try to explain it to their children. And like I said, for some reason, a lot of children watch this show. I didn't realize I was making children's programming here. But again, I'll tell you what it is if you come up to me in public, and I'll really tell you what it is if you come up to me wearing an SLC Puck hat. So anyway, that's today's episode, guys. Lots to talk about. We'll be back with you on Sunday. Don't forget to check out BigTuskEnergy.com for all the merch. Founding Herd sale still going on. Don't forget to scan this QR code. Where is it? There it is. Yeah, scan the QR code. Paint Anthony, Creative Jewelers, Jonathan's Jewelry. We've had a ton of giveaways. Actually, you know what? Let me turn this down a little bit. We've had some great winners here in the giveaway. I just got this text from the owner of those stores here. Again, we've Stephen P., Bryce H., Justin P., Becky H. and Buck H. are all winners of a $250 gift card to either one of those locations. So scan that QR code. You'll be in the raffle as well. And yeah, we appreciate you guys so much. We'll tune in. We'll talk Sunday. We'll talk World Championships at that point. Maybe USA will win. Maybe they won't. We'll see. We'll talk soon, guys. Thank you. Gear fitting in Ogden. I think they just have some stuff and they measure the kids out, write down the info, and then they send it to Pure Hockey, and Pure Hockey mails it to them. I think that's how it works. Huh? Yeah, that's the hockey shop conglomerate. They have the one in Murray is a Pure Hockey. Sorry, let me bang this out real quick.